Paul Thomas here with John Wagner, co-owner of Wagner Vineyards. John, welcome. We're down here in your notorious cellar, which is octagon shaped. Tell us a little bit about the winery, the vineyard, your family background. You guys have been here for a while.
We sure have. We've been growing grapes in the Wagner family for 5 generations here in the Finger Lakes. In 1972, my father, Bill Wagner, and my mother, Ruth, took a trip to Europe, accompanied a group of Finger Lakes grape growers over there on a combined fact-finding mission and sightseeing mission. And it was there that my dad really saw how they were doing it in Europe, and he saw wine production smaller scale, where people were growing their own grapes, bringing their fruit into the winery. And I think that's really when the idea was hatched that, we've got all this vineyard acreage that we are doing here, and we're doing a lot of work with it, and he wanted to really see that fruit, instead of being commingled with other farms' fruit and going over to large corporate wineries, he wanted to bring it in and really showcase what we could do with the fruit from our own farm here. So that's really when it started. The idea in 1976, New York State followed through with the New York Farm Winery Act, which basically cut through a lot of the red tape and allowed people like my dad to get in the wine business. So he was very proud of the fact that he started the project before that act passed, because he was very sure that it was going to pass. And
so he was right there ready to go as soon as he was allowed to.
He was digging the hole, before it passed. And so once he believed he could do something, he willed it to happen. He was a very strong man, and he just would work as hard as he could, and he'd make it happen. So that was in 1976 when we started the building. It is an octagon, as you mentioned, so still serves as our logo on our label. It's one of the unique things about the winery. It's an octagon for a reason. We're down in the cellar. There's dirt on the outside wall. There's dirt on the inside wall, so it really maintains the constant temperature down here for our barrel storage. The unique roof overhangs on the outside shade the soil to keep it cooler, and then the center hub of the octagon still serves as our main tank room for our wine production. So it's very efficient use of space. It's tight up there now because we've expanded, we've added tanks and things, but it's still a very good design. And then kind of the outer ring of the octagon is where we have our tasting bars and our retail space.
With the windows and the beautiful view.
We do have a nice view. It's easy growing up here and working here to take it for granted, but it's the one thing when people visit that they go out we have nice decks on the west side of the buildings, and they just see that the view looks down over our farm. We got a couple 100 acres of grapes there that go all the way from where the winery is down to the eastern shore of Seneca Lake. So you can look down there, you can see the whole lake, see the sunsets if there's a nice sunset. So yeah, people really soak it in, and so that's a really nice side benefit of being here in the Finger Lakes. A great place to grow grapes, and just a great place to live too. And visit.
Of the grapes you grow a wide variety of them.
We do.
What are some of the most important, or some of your favorite grapes you grow?
Sure. Well, we talked a little bit about where we came from. Like I said, 5 generations of the family have done it. When my great-grandfather, my grandfather were growing native varieties, primarily Concord and Niagara. When my father got into the wine business, we were coming off being a large grower for the Taylor Wine Company, so we had a lot of French-American hybrids that Dad had planted for the Taylor Wine Company. So when we opened our winery, actually our grand opening was June of '79, we had French-American hybrids in the ground. So that's what primarily most of our wines were that. Seyval, Deschanec, things of those nature, crosses between American varieties and French varieties. In the late 70s was kind of when we really started exploring the vinifera varieties. So we planted Riesling, we planted Gewürztraminer and Chardonnay, primarily whites in the beginning. And it's a learning curve, definitely. The wine business itself is a learning curve, and vinifera varieties in the Finger Lakes are a learning curve. So, in the beginning we were kind of growing them exactly like we had grown some of the other varieties, and we really had to learn how to grow world-class quality vinifera grapes. And there's different training systems, there's different strategies to keep them alive through the winter. So was a steep learning curve, and in the 80s we began to plant red vinifera, planted Pinot Noir, Cab Sauv, Cab Franc, Merlot, and for 15 years we were kind of sorting it out. The whole region was sorting it out, seeing what was going to be our strong point, and it really has turned out that the aromatic whites that's our forte. In the last 15 years, like 90% of our vineyard expansion has been Riesling. We do a lot of varieties well. We're growing 21 varieties of grapes on the farm. So we can do a lot of them really well, but we can do one world class, and that's Riesling. So we're putting a lot of eggs in one basket with Riesling, but it's been the wine that's given us traction in competitions, international competitions. We've gained distribution. We're in 16 states now with our Riesling. So it's the one that people are recognizing. This is what the Finger Lakes can do really well.
And important to note too, I think a lot of people still to this day associate Riesling with sweet.
Yeah,
and it's the whole spectrum. And you guys represent that really well, I think.
It is, and we kind of have fought that perception that Rieslings are only sweet, and it's just not the case. I mean, this variety of grape is so versatile. We can make bone dry Rieslings that pair extremely well with food. We've got a 2012 dry Riesling out right now that's killer. I mean, it's a single vineyard, and we've got 7 gold medals on the thing already. So our semi-dry continues to be kind of a fan favorite at people that like dry wine. It's still a very well balanced. It's only about 2% residual sweetness, so they like it. People that like sweeter can come down to about 2%, very well balanced. That still pairs well with food. We make a Riesling Select. It's a little bit on the sweeter side, getting into more of the stone fruit flavors and just really more of a luxurious mouthfeel to it. And then we make an ice wine out of Riesling. So, I mean, it really does the whole gamut of wine styles, and it does it really well, too. I mean, that proximity that we have to the lake not only gives us some winter moderation of temperatures, but it also, those cool nights prior to harvest, preserves the acidity in the Riesling grape. And that acidity is key to making those wines and having that mouthfeel to those wines. If we were in a hotter climate, those wines get kind of flat and lose a lot of that character. They would not be the same.
That's good clarification.
Yeah.
Now, we talked a lot about the wines, which of course is the core component of your world, but you've also got a pretty well-known brewery and an incredible restaurant.
We do.
Touch on those if you would.
Yeah, like going back to my father, he was the kind of guy that loved projects, and just kind of getting the winery so we could see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Let's do something else now.
And he was off to the next project. Well, everybody else was just like, it was kind of a whirlwind, So in let's see, 1990, we did the cafe, the Ginny Lee Cafe, named after my sister's daughter, Virginia Lee. He went big, it seats over 200 people, and
the deck alone almost looks like it seats over 200 people.
Got good capacity on the deck, nice views out there. We got a Culinary Institute of America trained chef, so I mean it's when he did things, he really we went for high quality stuff, really high quality. And then again, just as the restaurant was kind of getting to see its own there, we started in 1997 the brewery. So we annexed quite a large wing. It is in the same building as the winery. We have our own brewing facility. We keg, brew, bottle right here. We've got our own brewmaster. So it wasn't just a kind of a thing where we're going to buy a couple kegs from somebody and put in a couple taps. We do it.
Right.
We make it. Same thing as the winery. We're estate bottled. All of our wines are made from grapes that we grow here on the farm. So yeah, we're not a bottling plant. We're really trying to showcase what we can do with this little slice of Lodi here. These soils and land that my family's been farming for generations, and that's kind of cool. I was working in a vineyard today where my grandfather grew Concords, the same soil, the same dirt, and now we got a 15-acre block of Riesling there.
Yep.
So we've updated varieties, and each time that that we've taken a vineyard out and put in a new variety. We've tried to employ the latest technology that was out there. We do pattern tiling now in all the vineyards, which really helps the vines survive some of our harsh winter temperatures. We're at a position now where in the winery we're able to update a lot of our equipment. When we started out in the 70s, we were buying used cast-off equipment from other wineries, and we've really reached a point where we're updating to state-of-the-art stuff. So we're happy in the direction that we're going. I really think that the wines have gotten better and better, and it's just great, the challenge, that we don't ever feel like this is where we're done. We've reached the pinnacle of where we can get in quality. We're always striving it. We make a great wine. It's like, okay, well, what can we do next year, next vintage? Right. We've got a state-of-the-art grape harvester coming for this harvest, made over in France. It's going to have onboard de-stemming capabilities, so it'll take the stems out of the grapes. It will sort the berries so that only the best quality fruit is coming into the winery. So I mean, we're really doubling down, trying to do whatever we can to evaluate new technology, employ it where we can, and like I say, we do a lot of stuff ourselves. Sometimes it's doing it the hard way. It takes longer. It took us 3 years to build this building, to get it open, but this was the vineyard crew would work during the day. The vineyard, they'd come in, lay blocks in the basement, and you never knew whether you were going to be erecting a wall or trimming grapevines or whatever. But
whatever Bill needed.
Whatever Bill needed, basically. And he was a great man, and he had a vision long before other people did. And everybody, we did it. We made it happen, and it's been a lot of hard work. But it's we're happy to have people visit and really see what it is. Got a lot of historical pictures displayed throughout the winery to kind of show back some of the history of the family, the grape growing, and a lot of the construction pictures of the winery. And just really, we're coming into a nice season where we're coming into the summertime where people sit out on the deck and can enjoy a glass of wine or a pint of beer and catch a lunch over at the cafe. We do a lot of wedding receptions at the cafe, so it's a fun place to be and work, and we're really, it's nice. I've got 9 of my immediate family members that work here, so
Well, I was going to ask about that earlier and allude to it, that when you talk about Bill and your family upstream, you've got plenty of family working downstream as well.
Well, my sister Laura and I own the operation, and we manage it along with assistance from my wife Debbie. She's the technical and IT support for the whole, keeps it all together. My sister Laura has 3 adult children that have taken on big roles in the whole operation. Her daughter Ginny is the manager at the restaurant, the Ginny Lee Cafe that has her name. Her son Stephen is our commercial wine salesman, and her other son Kevin is our assistant winemaker. So then Deb and I have 3 boys. Ian just graduated college, and he's returned to join the vineyard operation full-time. Our middle son Hayden is partway through college, and he works summers and breaks in the vineyard and in the winery. And our youngest son Adam is still in high school, but he also works summers and breaks in the vineyard and winery. And Laura and I have a brother, Stephen, who's a very experienced, integral part of the vineyard operation as well. And we're also just really lucky to have just such a loyal, dedicated staff that's like our extended family. And just a lot of great synergy going on, and it's a fun place to be and work.
Well, I think it makes a huge difference. Number one, not just having family who have a vested interest in the success of the business, but longtime employees who know the business, care about the business, and I swear it reflects at every level of the customer experience.
Well, we think so, and we've been doing the vineyard thing for forever. We're 5 generations growing grapes, and we just want to keep carrying on and doing the same thing with the wine business and the restaurant and the brewery as well. So it's a lot of fun, and we have fun working together.
All right, thanks, John.
Thank you.